Well, it was about 2 months into COVID, and we were already getting stir crazy at the house. Samuel was 4, the twins were going into first grade, and Lillian was going into the second grade. And I got the brilliant idea to take them for a hike. I know some of you are already realizing this is a bad idea. But Lillian had last year at first grade gotten to go to the Nature Institute in Alton. And I said, oh, well, the twins missed it because it got canceled because of COVID coming in. And I thought, I can take them there. It's only 5 minutes from our house. This will be a great time. And so we go, and I think, you know what, we'll go on one of the trails. There's a little creek up we can go see. It'll only be about an hour, and they can do that. They've done that. We go to the zoo. We've done this walk before. The problem is, you have these moments like this, or if you can see on the screen, where you have 2 trails that hit. Now, this isn't the colors. Ours were purple and black that we were following. But some way on the way back, these 2 come together, and I did not realize that we had chosen the wrong path. It wasn't until about 10 minutes in that I realized I'm only now seeing the color black on the trees and not purple anymore. And thankfully, I had looked at the map, and I'm pretty good with maps, so I knew this eventually led to the same spot. I just knew I had picked the longer path. For 6, 7, and 4-year-old who are already starting to get tired. And so you can imagine how this goes. We're walking, and it hits this big field in this open area for a moment. We've come out of the trees. And for my kids, they expected this big open moment to mean we're there. We're back. The parking lot's around the corner. And we're not. To which, of course, Samuel at this point has already asked to be carried. And I'm carrying him on my shoulders now. The twins are complaining that why don't they get a turn being held? And Lillian has just given up on any help because she has already done the math and realizes she's just going to have to trudge along. The whole time, the 3 girls are asking, Dad, when are we going to get there? Dad, are we lost? Where are we going? At one point, I remember vividly finally having to say, listen, even if we weren't on a path at all, I know where we are, and I know where we're going. If we have to, we'll just go straight through and we'll hit the parking lot. But telling that to a little child is very hard. Thankfully, we do eventually hit the same path again, and they recognize where they are, and they realize that we're almost there back to the car and back home. But you can feel that pressure, right? That wondering, especially that moment when you think you've got it all figured out and all of a sudden it's been turned upside down. And that's where we find the disciples and Jesus. Jesus is doing his famous farewell disclosure, as they call it. And he's setting up the disciples for what's about to happen. And so from John 13 through about 17, we catch Jesus going through his last things he wants to tell them. And he's already washed their feet, tried to explain that he's leaving them, dropped this huge bomb saying someone is going to betray him, and even said to everyone in the room that Peter, the one everyone saw as the rock, would deny him 3 times before the end of the day. And he starts off in the next chapter by saying these words, "Don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God, trust also in me." I mean, you can imagine that moment, right? I mean, Jesus is sitting here saying, hey, I know what I just laid on you. I know that I just said a lot of things that are heavy, but I need you to not be troubled about this. Trust me. Trust in God. It's hard to hear that sometimes, but he wants them to hear this. And so he goes on and he says, there is more than enough room in my Father's home. If this were not so, would I have told you that I am going to prepare a place for you? Now, what he's trying to get across to them is the same thing. We kind of mess up this verse sometimes. This is symbolic marriage talk. The husband, when he proposes, would go back home and he would build onto his father's house a room just for him and the bride. And that's what he's trying to explain there. He's saying, I'm going home to my father's house where there will be lots of rooms. This is where we get the confusion. A lot of people take this and go into that word mansion. This is why I get frustrated with songs that talk about we're all going to get a mansion one day and a robe and a crown. It's not supposed to be this individualized mansion. It's this idea that he's building on to the family house, and he says he's got enough rooms for everyone. And so he's trying to say, you don't actually have to fear, but I have to leave. In the same way the groom has to leave the bride in order to prepare the place, I have to leave in order to get the place ready. And so I need you to trust me when I go to my father's house. And he says, when everything is ready, I will come and get you so that you will always be with me where I am. And you know the way to where I am going. He explains to them, because let's be honest, it's one thing for someone to say, hey, I'm going and I'm going to make this great place for you. But I'm at the heart a skeptical person. I don't always show it, but inside I set myself up to go, maybe. Anytime someone promises me something great, I hear it and I go, I'm catching the loophole. Yes, you're going to go prepare a place, but when are you coming back? Because he's even told parables, right, of you don't know when they're coming back. He says, but I want you to hear this. I will come and get you. And then you will always be with me. Because you know the way. And this is where I love it. We get to see Thomas again. This is what I love about John. We get these phrases from Thomas that, and I feel for Thomas, this because this was my question too. His answer is, no, we don't. No, we don't know, Lord, Thomas said. We have no idea where you are going. So how can we know the way? It's what my children were feeling. It's, Dad, I understand that you say we're going to get back, but I'm not sure you know where we're going. Because all of a sudden, the terrain looks different. Things do not look the way we thought they were going to look, and we're starting to wonder. And this is where we get this amazing verse. A verse that has been used lots of ways. Some really great, some not so great, but you can't get past the fact that this is probably one of the most exclusive things Jesus says. Because now that Thomas has asked about it, he's willing to tell him. Jesus told him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me. Now, being a youth minister and working with the next generation for so long, teens struggled with this one. And the truth is, I think most people today struggle with this sometimes because it's really hard because we like to be inclusive. That's what our generation, this was the last few years has been about. We're all in this together. We don't exclude people. That would be bullying. We don't want to put people on the outside. And yet, Jesus just said, it's only through him. And that sounds harsh when you look at it certain ways, but there's so many easy ways to think about this. And so I'll give you an example from my own life. In my college years, like it so often goes, I learned a very good lesson. I'd have these moments my freshman and sophomore year where I'd get these awful stomach cramps. Sometimes bearable enough that I could go to class and sit, but a couple times so unbearable that I'd have to skip class because it hurt so bad. I thought I was going to throw up, but it wasn't the stomach bug because for some reason it'd go away after a couple hours, but they were excruciating. And I never could pinpoint what it was for a while until finally I caught the pattern and realized my mistake. I was taking iron supplement pills and did not realize this little line, take with food. Now, I could say they're being so exclusive. How dare they tell me how to take my medicine? I don't need food to take my medicine. I've never done that before. Why should I have to do it now? I want to take the medicine my way. Well, guess what my way was getting me? My way was getting me stomach cramps because I was not realizing that the days that I was skipping breakfast, the iron pill I was taking was completely wrecking my stomach. I had to learn the hard way that, no, sometimes there is a way to do things. And sometimes that's out of my control. I love it how Proverbs says, it says, there is a path before each person that seems right, but it ends in death. There's a lot of times that we think we have the right answers, only to realize afterwards that we were going down a path of destruction. Most of us learn this pretty quickly, whether it's in our teenage years or our college years. At some point, we realized we were making some decision and it did not go the way. I'm sure we all have stories that we could share in these moments. Hopefully some like my story where it's just a simple stomach cramp, others with much more harder consequences. Where we tried to do what we thought was the right way. It looked right, it seemed right, it sounded right, it seemed to work for others. And when we tried it, it didn't go so well. The other story I like to tell with this is simply this. If you were in an apartment building, smoke starts coming in through your room, and you're a planner, and so you quickly go, okay, I've got multiple ways to get out. Don't calm down. We've got the window, there's the fire escape, there's 2 sets of stairs. I know not to take the elevator. You're playing it through your mind, and all of a sudden the door knocks. It's a fireman. And says, I need you to come with me. The place is on fire. I know the way out. At that moment, you don't say, it's okay, I already know the way. It's okay. No, there's multiple ways to get out. I know the way to get saved. I'll just go through the window. No, you can't do the window. No, it's fine. The window worked. No, you don't understand. It's not. No, it's okay. I'll take the stairs to the right. No, those won't work either. There's only one way. The fire has spread. There's only one way out. You don't look at the fireman and go, I think I know better. And yet we serve a Lord that says, I have the way to salvation. Acts puts it this way, it says, there is salvation in no one else. God has given no other name under heaven by which we must be saved. It is only through Jesus Christ who says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. There is no other way except through me. And yet so often we say things like, well, there's multiple ways to get there. And Jesus says, no, there's not. The place is on fire. There is danger all around, but I have the salvation, the freedom, the way to life, and you have to follow me. Crazier yet, we serve a Lord that once he shows us the way out, he turns around and says, will you now go back into the fire and help me save others? Showing them the way out. And now we're turned around and we have to do the exact same thing, going to others and saying, I know the way. And they look at us and go, wow, that seems arrogant. But the truth is, in that moment, we don't say it out of anger, self-righteousness. We say it out of love because we know the building's on fire. And we know the way. Jesus tells him, he says, if you had really known me, you would know who my Father is. From now on, you don't know him. You do know him and have seen him. And again, this time it's Philip that responds. He says, Lord, show us the Father, and we will be satisfied. I love this moment. They're still not getting it. In these final moments, Jesus is saying, no, you already heard it. I am the way. And they're like, just show us the Father. And so Jesus says it plainly. Jesus replied, have I been with you all this time, Philip, and yet you still don't know who I am? Anyone who has seen me has seen the Father. So why are you asking me to show him to you? Don't you believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me? The words I speak are not my own, but my Father who lives in me does his work through me. Just believe that I am the Father and the Father is in me. Or at least believe because of the work you have seen me do. Jesus says, no, you don't understand. I am the Father. Or more clearly said, I am God. He's trying to tell them, no, you don't understand. It's the same thing. That's why I'm saying, you want to see the Father, it's me. You want to know the way to his home, it's through me. He goes, I am the Father. Crazier yet, he explains that by knowing them, we can have this full life. He says, I tell you the truth. Anyone who believes in me will do the same works I have done, and even greater works, because I am going to be with the Father. You can ask for anything in my name, and I will do it, so that the Son can bring glory to the Father. Yes, ask me for anything in my name, and I will do it. Now, I find this incredible. Some scholars put this with the next section talking about the Holy Spirit, and it absolutely can go there. But I think what Jesus is trying to get across is this idea that he says, listen, you want to know the way. You want to know the truth. You want to have this life that I've been showing you. This life that's not just following God, but this miraculous life of somehow finding the joy and the peace in the moment of being able to do these miraculous things. And I love it because it blows my mind, because in this moment he looks at them and says, and you will do the same works I have done and even greater. Because he knows what he's about to tell them about the Holy Spirit, because he knows he's giving them the same access. That's what he's saying. He says, no, you know the way. You know the truth. You know this life. You've been with me for 3 years. You've been with me all this time. You've seen it. And here's my problem with Christians today. At least quite a few of them. They see this and they go, Jesus told him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And they go, yes, I want the life and I love the truth. It's Jesus. But they're not sure about the way. Oh, they want the miracles and they want to ask God for anything and it to be given to them. They want that joy and that peace. But do I have to do everything that way? Oh, they'll say the truth, it is Jesus. Jesus is the way. But when it says, sometimes we don't think about it. It's when it says the way, that means the way Jesus lived. I found it interesting that I found 2 quotes, both talking about this. N.T. Wright was talking about how often we preach Jesus is the way, and we turn so many people off. And he says this in his commentary, John for Everyone. He says, the truth, the life through which we know and find the way is Jesus himself. The Jesus who washed the disciples' feet and told them to copy his example. The Jesus who was on his way to give his life as a shepherd for the sheep. Was that arrogant? Was that self-serving? Only when the church recovers the nerve to follow Jesus in his own mission and vocation, I suspect, will it be able to recover the nerve to fully make the claim of verse 6 that Jesus is the only way. Or as John Mark Comer said in his book, if you want to experience the life to the full of Jesus, his nonstop conscious enjoyment of God's presence in the world, all you have to do is adopt not only his theology and ethics, but also his lifestyle. Just follow his way. That's it. We've talked so many times about Jesus being the life, that you can have a life to the fullest through him. But that means following him. That means doing it his way and not our way. So I want to invite the praise team back up, and I want to end with these two things. But before I get to this verse, this is how the Holy Spirit works in awesome ways. On the way in, we were listening to Joy FM, and a song came on the radio called "The Way." But I caught it too late, and it switched, so I had to go back and find it. And I want you to read to you these words. This is from "The Way" by John Reddick. "I've had it with the way of this world. I've spent my last day chasing those lies. And now I want the world to hear me say, Jesus is the way. I've had it with the schemes of the devil. He ain't got no grip on me. Let the gates of hell tremble when I say, Jesus is the way. You are the way. You're the only way. For the saint, for the sinner, for the world today, you are the way. And I will follow you. Because Jesus, only you are the life, the truth, the way." Or as Moses told the Israelites in Deuteronomy, "Today I've given you the choice between life and death, between blessings and curses. Now I call on heaven and earth to witness the choice you make. Oh, that you would choose life, so that you and your descendants may live."